Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're back with another video. We're going to be talking about Dazzle position 5, and honestly, Dazzle can be played in multiple roles right now. So I will be a little bit discussing how you can play this hero also as a core, but Dazzle is one of the most powerful heroes of the patch. I actually think that the win rate is not exactly telling of how good this hero actually is, and the reason why is it's a little bit weird, it's wonky, you have to figure it out. But in today's video, I'm going to give you guys a pretty clear game plan on what you need to do on Dazzle to make the hero look OP. On top of that, go sign up to the gameleap website, guys. I'm posting new content over there almost every day, and I'll see you there. All right, so first things first, what did they change about the hero? A lot. In fact, over Dota's history, this hero has been way different. This might be one of the most reworked heroes of all time. I mean, I don't know, you guys probably agree, right? He's had so many variations of spells. I can remember them all, like when Weave was an AoE ability, like this ground targeted. But either way, we're going to be looking at a pos 5 Dazzle. I actually think that the hero might be better as a core, but it's also very, very, very good as a support. And what they reworked, basically, that you need to know. Number one, they made the facet better. So basically, it still does what it used to, which is Poison Bloom. This is the one you're almost always going to take. I don't like the other one as much. I'll get into as why. Every 4 attacks, the Poison Touch will spread. This facet is really great to me because in downtime, you can farm. It's one of the best farming facets in the game, and it's a great part about Dazzle. You can hit creeps. Also, what they made better is that Weave applies 2 times stacks to enemies. So basically, your facet, when you put abilities on enemies, it reduces their armor. So when you put Poison Touch on someone, it reduces their armor by 1. This is great because honestly, 1 armor reduction in the laning stage is nothing to scoff at, especially considering Poison Touch is physical damage and heroes have very low natural armor. On top of that, they made his ulti way different. We're gonna have to get into this when it comes up, but basically you get to shoot out a clone of yourself that you can control, and this clone is way better than you. Poison Touch hexes, your Grave heals when it ends, which is really OP because Grave amps healing. So basically it's like a mega heal, really, really strong. And it's 225 at level 6. I mean, 225 healing at level 6 is really, really high. And your Shadow Wave is lower cooldown. So it lasts for 15 seconds, minimum of 5 seconds. The reason why it has a minimum is sometimes you want to draw the projection back into yourself so you don't die. So basically how it works is you shoot out a clone of yourself and they can attack the main version, but the clone is a really OP version and it can save the main version. But we'll get into that when the time comes. So in the laning stage, your hero is very, very good. Basically, you trade with Poison Touch, and when you proc the 4 hits, you get a bit of bonus damage, right? It does that bonus 30 damage, which is actually more because you got that minus armor. And so yeah, you just trade very well around Poison Touch. You have quite good base stats, 305 movement speed, 4 armor, 55 damage, actually 57 here. Is all very, very good. So he's playing against one of the hardest lanes in the game. I think Morta Nightstalker is a top tier lane, and I really mean that. This is one of the most difficult lanes, but yeah, primarily just putting out Poison Touches and playing around that cooldown. The biggest drawback to the hero is that Poison Touch is a pretty long 24-second cooldown, but this is actually a 3-second upgrade from last patch. Also, they buffed the cooldown of Shadow Wave by 2 seconds at level 1, so you can see why I think this hero is incredible. He also has major cooldown reductions on his best laning abilities, right? Poison Touch and Shadow Wave, and so the hero is just a way better laner as well. You just need the mana to sustain it, which is why I think a lot of the time the starting item build should often revolve around a stick. Another thing you want to do a lot on Dazzle is play for the pole camp. This hero is incredibly difficult to fight on the pole camp because basically if you get into a 50-50 against Dazzle where you're trading in an open area where you're not close to your tower right here, this is exactly what I'm talking about, you'll run them down. Most heroes have no shot. It's not close. And as a result, you want to play to constantly have this open. You should be placing a sentry before the minimark and fighting them for it. If they come contest you, you should Poison Touch them. And so you can actively hold Poison Touch to make sure you have it for the pole camp. And that's going to play a big part into this lane as he has a stack pull at minute 2, right on the minute 2 pull. That's huge. They deny a full wave, and the Nightstalker has to come over and try to bully him. Messes up a little bit here, takes a bit of damage. But you can see how much pressure this pull is putting on the enemy lane, and Dazzle is just absolutely fantastic at making this happen. So another thing that's really cool that comes up here is reapplying Poison Touch. So if you don't know how the ability works or either ability works, I'll quickly explain them. Poison Touch, it applies a slow and damage over time. Every time you hit the person that it's on, it reapplies it, and it makes the slow greater. So it gets stronger over time, right? So you have to be really careful about just eating Poison Touches. That's why this is so good. And you'll see here, he's hitting the Nightstalker, putting the counter. And so all of these hits are reapplying the Poison Touch onto the Nightstalker. And on top of that, after the 4 hits, it will spread it to everyone around him. Or sorry, up to the max target. So at this point of the game, it's actually only 4 targets. So unfortunately, it doesn't spread to the Ogre. But you'll see that the Night Stalker still has a Poison Touch on him, and it's spread to the Muerta. And this is huge damage as well, because the Poison Touch is now doing 60 split damage at level 3. So this ability is just straight up insane at this point in the game. I mean, it is crazy good Poison Touch level 2. It's also 28 DPS, which is really high considering you're reapplying it. So yeah, you want to fight a lot. He picks up a Bassi here. Personally, I don't like his items. I think that the clarities are more than necessary, but to me, this is absolutely a stick hero. You need a stick because you need a lot of mana. This hero uses a lot of mana. Poison Touch is a very intensive ability at 125 at level 1. It looks kind of dead here. But yeah, you want to just be fighting when you hit level 3. I mean, you're going to win most trades if your E is a heal and damage. That ability works if basically if someone's next to an ally and you heal that ally, the enemy takes damage. The main goal is to hit enemies when they are in creep waves. And something real quick here, this is kind of what I was talking about with this hero being flexible. The game is like really static. He doesn't see any possible moves, so he's gonna hit some camps. And basically by hitting one creep over and over again, typically the biggest creep of the camp, you're going to apply poison touches. And yeah, it just spreads the poison touches to the creeps. So it's really great. Easy peasy, farm up a whole camp. All right, now we're gonna see our first look at Nothl Projection. Only a 70-second cooldown, which is more than fantastic in the late game. It's only a 50-second cooldown, which after the 15-second duration is 35 seconds. But all right, let's get into it. So you shoot it out. You'll see here, it's on the field, and it's untargetable. Now, your main hero is still targetable and is stunned. So basically, people can go run at your main hero. And you might be like, oh, that's bad, I'm gonna die. But the reality is if you have a Pointing Grave, which I really think he should, I actually super disagree with this skill build. A lot of people will take the E because it's like, oh, it's better in the early game. Grave is kind of shit at level 1. And for most of Grave's history, it has been shit at level 1. But now at level 6, it is a 225 heal. Do not skip Grave. It is not worth the second point in E. Grave is better. 225 health at this point of the game, which is amped. Not by a lot at this point, but it is amped. It is really good. So in this fight, when he puts out Poison Touch, it will Hex, right? You can see this projection is going on. The E is much lower cooldown, 6.3 during the ult here because of that 30% cooldown reduction. And you can also auto attack, right? So people basically can't deal with you because you can apply Poison Touch. They can't fight you back. They can't target you. And so you Hex them, you keep applying Poison Touch, you keep healing. I mean, this thing is a menace, right? It's incredibly good. And so, yeah, I actually think Dazzle might be pretty overtuned. I think, again, the win rate is probably not reflective of what this hero can do. Because, especially with things like Core Dazzle or an overfarm support Dazzle, the amount of value you can get out of Poison Touch when people cannot stop you, right? Because, well, yeah, you can run at the main hero, but again, you're probably not killing it because the Nothl Projection is just a stronger version of Dazzle. He's going to be protecting himself. That's what you should be looking to do is, oh my god, it blows up the Ogre. And remember, you're getting that minus armor. Now, that minus armor is better. It's going to be 1.5 per Poison Touch, right? Application. You'll see some minus armor here. And when the E comes out, it's also another 1.5. So this Ogre blows up from the E, right? Which is why people will be like, I want to skill my E. It's really good. Yeah, it is really good, but it's not that much better from level 1 to level 2. Obviously, if they're in a full creep wave, it is quite a bit better. But in general, you're not going to be bombing people. You're probably just going to be healing. And so it's really not worth it. You're getting 20 more heal in most situations. Okay, so progressing into the mid game, let's talk about items, talents, and skill build. So basically, max out your Q. It's your best ability with Poison Bloom, by far. Then you typically max out your E, right? Pretty standard. It's definitely what you should do, especially considering you're getting CDR. You skill your ulti when you can, and then you should skill Grave over Talents. I think some games mana regen is worth it. The other one is pretty good as well, the Poison Touch attack range. It is solid, but in general, I think mana regen or just skipping it for points and graves is the way to go, right? Now, at level 15, this one's pretty controversial, and I disagree with most people. I actually think that 90 attack speed, even on support, is better. Shadow Wave heal and damage, if you have Ags, can be better. The reason why is the Ags amps the heal, and so I can kind of get it. On top of that, you're getting CDR on your heal up to 60%, and the heal becomes reasonably broken. And honestly, I can see where people are coming from, especially with Nothl Projection. There is a strong argument for the heal and damage talent at 15, and so I might have to change my mind. but historically, I've loved the attack speed. And the reason why is Poison Bloom, right? 120 split damage, and you're constantly just splitting the Poison Touch. And what's really broken about it, we're not going to get to see it here, unfortunately, very much, but what's really broken is during the Nothl projection, Poison Bloom is a Hex, right? So when he puts it out, and you'll see it in this team fight, right? He's going to put out the projection in a second. When he clicks his Q, it will Hex, right? So he hexes the PA. And now if he's able to put 4 hits onto someone who is hexed or is affected by Poison Bloom and it splits, the Poison Bloom splits and hexes. So if you're constantly making it split, you're constantly hexing. And that's why I love the 90 attack speed. It lets you farm and it scales incredibly well. Unfortunately, they've made the heal so strong with this CDR that it might be hard to ignore, but honestly, even in the last patch, you had CDR on the heal, it was just kind of in a different way. In terms of items, he rushes to Solar Crest. This is pretty standard. It's just a mana item. This hero requires a lot of mana. So, you know, getting the Pavis just gives you a mana pool in the early game. He has a Magic Wand, of course. In this game, he buys a Ghost Scepter. That's just a reaction to the Night Stalker more than anything. It's obviously pretty good against PA as well, but it's mostly a reaction to the Night Stalker, a little bit for the PA. And I would say most importantly, your items on this hero, just very relative. You don't have to buy like Aether ever. You don't need any item like this. And so basically you just buy what's good for the game. Whether or not that's drums, solar, glimmer, you can buy Holy Locket, you can buy Holy Locket mech, right? If you just want to go full heal build, totally viable on this hero. This hero heals like crazy. And so yeah, there's a lot of options on Dazzle. I don't have the best opinion on what I think is the best on average. It's probably drum solar is the most reliable, something along this line, just because of how effective these items are on average, or maybe even like a solar plus glimmer, just so you're really tanky and it's hard to kill you during your Nothl projection. Now for the 20 and 25 talents, I think 20 is actually tough. Poison Touch DPS is incredible. 75 DPS. The ability is 52. So this is more than a double of the max spell and you're splitting it. And that's why I love the 90 attack speed and then 75 Poison Touch DPS. However, I think if you're going full support, you just take the Grave cooldown. The reason why Grave cooldown is probably not as good as it seems is it's not like you're getting Grave CDR from the ult, right? So the Grave is going to be stuck at 14-second cooldown. And the reality is you'll probably get 2 of them off because of the fact that Nothl projection makes you hard to kill, right? Because you have such good positioning in team fights. That's what's really broken about this thing, right? You just get to hide in the back and cast spells. Dazzle usually kills himself trying to Grave people. No longer as. That's pretty funny. He's dead. He's dead trying to heal people. You know, what can you do? What can you do? I completely jinxed him. Either way, you get the point. Both are fine. If you're going full heal, Shallow Grave. If you want to try the left talents, they are good. And at level 25, I think a Weave armor reduction increase is the way to go. Poison Touch Slow is pretty legit, but at that point in the game, there's usually a lot of dispels. If you're in a Herald game and people are just buying full DPS or just Ags Octarine on support, as per usual, then Poison Touch Slow might be worth it because no one's dispelling your Poison Touch. However, Weave armor reduction increase is more consistent in my opinion. All right, let's see one more team fight before we get into the end of the game. The Legion goes in for a very, very deep duel. He has to chase on here, drops the projection, and you usually want to heal immediately as he puts out a Hex onto the Muerta. That actually sets up for the Roar, pretty nice. He should put out a heal, and the heal is a 2.8 second cooldown. 2.8! That's pretty good! That's really low. And remember, it's armor reduction as well. I believe it's 2.5 per hit. Pretty incredible. With the other fast, it's 2 armor for allies, which is why I can kind of see why people might take that. It is pretty good, honestly. Might be worth considering. Either way, yeah, puts out a Hex, puts out a heal, just blows up the Muerta, and also set up for the kill with the very convenient Hex. And immediately, the ult is kind of almost back up. By the way, his Shard, Nothl projection can be cast while Dazzle is disabled. This is pretty awesome. Because of the fact that, you know, you can get stunned and then grave yourself. That's amazing. I mean, against certain matchups, it just lets you save yourself and cancel it. Imagine a Bane grips you and you can cast your ult and hex him. Yeah, that's how it works. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. And it amps healing by 20%, which is great, which is why I actually think you should be aiming to get an Ags in the late game on support Dazzle. This hero farms really quickly and can get away with it. So you can also rush Ags. I'm going to keep it real, guys. I'm not a huge fan of that build. I think going greedy items like that on support is 9 out of 10 times dog, but you can kind of do it on this hero. It's maybe good enough. However, I think the best thing to do is small item, Ags, or small item, Ags. I think it's way better. It just kind of helps you transition through the game. So yeah, I would love to see him pick it up. 2.8 second cooldown, Ags heal, amped by 20%. Yeah, that's not bad. All right, let's get into one of our last insane team fights of the game. I know I keep saying this, but I'm really having a good time watching this hero. I'm excited to play it myself. It really does seem very, very fun. But Ogre comes in. He's got a Shadow Blade, which is a response to Nullifier. This is something maybe you guys don't know. Nullifier does not dispel Shadow Blade. So if the enemy team doesn't have Dust or Gem, then it's a great response to Nullifier jumpers as a support. But fight breaks out. Drops his heal. I don't really know why he's not using the Nothl protection. Maybe he feels that it's worth holding till like the fight develops a bit. Looks like that's his opinion here, which I mean, sure. This fight goes on. It's crazy that he can't be silenced. That's actually so insane. Like this Muerta W is just on him. It just doesn't matter. Can pump out a heal. Oh, maybe could have graved his Veno there if he saw the jump coming. Probably should grave the Legion on the crit. Yep. Wow, the heal on the E was really significant there, considering there was no axe. Wow, that is, what in the world? That was crazy healing. Puts out a Q, and yeah. I would really say the big thing in the late game is that, again, you just don't die for casting your spells, and to me, that's just kind of overpowered. Dazzle's main flaw as a hero is that when trying to save people, he's gonna die. His cast ranges on his spells are okay. Like, they're alright. In the late game, people have a lot of mobility, and so you usually kind of have to suicide. Just no longer the case. Now you're just this, like, very safe saver. And that's amazing. So, yeah, that's going to be about the end of the video. They end up winning this game very shortly off some pretty crazy buybacks. I mean, this game was like a base race to the end, right? It looked actually really bad, but, I mean, actually, this looks terrible. They win this game? Yeah, they actually win this game. Not the projection to defend? It's actually a little sad that you only get to put out, like, one poison touch. That's a bit unfortunate. But he actually stalls a bit of time. They drop the smoke, and whoa, they just roar the PA and take her out. Oh my lord, that's a lot of damage. The Shadow Blade actually does deal with the Night Stalker. Throne being hit. Oh, that's crazy, but... Oh no, there's no backdoor. Damn, he just couldn't do it. What a wild ending to this game. But yeah, strong-ass hero. Really fun, really cool. Suggest it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the GameLeap website, where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace!